in the year 38 of Hijrah, Hussein radiallahu anhu had a son from that girl. And he named him after his father's name, which means Ali. So now this boy's name was Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali radiallahu anhu. His grandfather from the father's side is Ali radiallahu anhu, and from the mother's side is King Yazdajird, the king of the superpower of that time, the Persian Empire. We can see that it was for their own good and for the good of these girls that their father left them, that finally they recorded some history in the Islam by their virtuousness, by accepting the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, practicing it in such a way. Because people of higher qualities, those who are raised in those places, they have abilities, they have good qualities, they like cleanliness and all of these things. When they see the beauty of Islam, they love it. So Hussein radiallahu anhu had this son Ali from that girl. And this Ali, under the supervision of his father and mother, as he was raised in that house, he turned out to be such a virtuous person that they started calling him Zain al-Abideen. And I'm sure most of you have heard the name of Imam Zain al-Abideen, Rahimahullah. This is who Zain al-Abideen was. Because of his ibadah, Imam Malik Rahimahullah says, as Abu Nu'aym al-Asfahani Rahimahullah have narrated in Hilyat al-Awliya, that Imam Zain al-Abideen used to perform 1,000 rak'ah nafil every day in his life. This is what Imam Malik Rahimahullah narrates. Zain al-Abideen, because of the way he used to perform the ibadah, which means the beauty of the worshippers. It's a time of tabi'een, when you have great tabi'een. You have people like Imam Nasireen, like Hassan al-Basri, like many others, and you can name them. There are so many of them. In those days, to get the title of Zain al-Abideen wasn't an easy task. And of course, he did not go to ask for it, and there was no voting for it. But إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَكُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. Those who believe in Allah and perform the good deeds, Allah put the love in the hearts of the people, which means in the hearts of virtuous people. And virtuous people started calling him Zain al-Abideen, the beauty of the Abideen, of the worshippers. When he used to perform salah, he used to stand in such a way before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he won't know what's going around him in the world. One day, as he's performing the salah, and there was a fire in the house, all the people ran out and people are shouting at him and they're putting up the fire. He didn't know about nothing until he finished the salah. After he was done with the salah, they asked him that what stopped you from leaving the salah, breaking your salah? At that time it was allowed even by Islam. You can't put your life into that type of hardship, and you can't just lose your life because of this. Imam Zain al-Abideen Rahimahullah replied, had I known that there was a fire, I would have broke my salah. I didn't know about it. So they said, how come you didn't know about it? All the people were shouting, they are calling at you. He said, yes, that might be there, that might be true. But the thing is, I was thinking about the fire of Akhirah, and the fire of Akhirah kept me from thinking about the fire of this dunya. When he used to perform wudu, at the time of performing wudu, he would start shaking up. People asked him, what happens to you during wudu? He says, I'm preparing to stand before Rabbul Alameen. At the time of Hajj, everyone is saying labbaik, he's quiet. So they asked him, how can you are not saying labbaik? Imam Zain al-Abideen replied, my fear is I would say labbaik, and Allah will tell me, la labbaik, no, I don't want to accept you, don't come to me. Then what I would do? This is the fear of Allah. And this fear comes because of the love these people have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just running away from Him, because of the love. A person who's performing so many salah and so much ibadah that he's called Zain Abideen, the beauty of all the worshippers, this is his status with the fear of Allah. Unfortunately, what happens is, and this is for us a very important point for us to understand and remember, as we start doing little bit of ibadah, and especially as soon as we get into nawafil and few rak'ahs of tahajjud for a month or two, a person says, you know, I'm not doing anything for the fear of Allah. SubhanAllah. That fear is true, it has to be there. Why not? It has to be there. Otherwise, there would be nothing to stop the person from committing sin. And this is why we find people, on one hand they're doing a lot of nafil ibadah, on the other hand the person is committing a lot of sins. Why? No fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only hope, and only hope. That hope is making him do one side the ibadah, on the other side he's keep on committing sins. That Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, which is totally wrong. Along with his ibadah, during his lifetime he was not known for a quality that people knew about him after he passed away, and that was his generosity. I'm sure you remember a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 7 types of people will be under the shadow on the day of judgment, provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the sun will be only a fist away from people's head. And one of those people, رَجُلٌ تَصَدَّقَ بِصَدَقَةٍ فَأَخْفَاهَا حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمُ يَمِينُهُ مَا تُنْفِقُ شِمَالُهُ. A person who gives the charity in such a way that his right hand doesn't know what his left hand has given. Which means no one knows what this person has given. So secret in his charities. During his lifetime, people didn't know what type of charities he was given, except, yes, when normally a person is giving, then people know it. But after he passed away, they realized that Imam Zain al-Abideen, Rahimahullah, was taking care of 100 poor families in Medina Munawwara. Even those families didn't know who was bringing the food to their home, because every morning they will find food at their door. Night time, he would carry these bags of the food, and to these 100 families regularly they are getting their meal and their living, their necessities of their life. Every day 100 families are getting it from there, and they themselves don't know who's bringing it to them. Subhanallah. People are talking about Santa Claus, that one day threw a bag of money from a window. Here, 100 families every day. And they knew that it was from him, because the day he passed away, that stopped from that day on. So they knew it was coming from him. And when they were washing his body, the people who were washing the body had to go and ask his family, why there are so many bruises on his back, on his shoulder? They said, because of carrying all of these bags of food every night on his shoulders. Doesn't want to tell anyone to carry it for him, because people would know it. Wants to keep the charity secret. Bruises on his back. Imagine food for 100 families. Carrying it on his shoulder every night and delivering it to their doors. SubhanAllah. We really need to know who our ancestors are. We need to tell our children who these people were. They will be very proud of their iman and their deen, and what we are getting through this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, as it is the rule of the world, whenever a person would do something good, there will always be enemies of the person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. For every prophet there are enemies out of jinns and shayateen, and out of human beings. Shayateen al-ins wal-jinn. From shayateens of jinns and shayateen of human beings, who are the enemies of Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And any person who will step in that direction, of doing any work